Hello, everybody. Hello, live streamers who are here with us. Hello to the people watching the video after the fact. We love you. Thank you for being here. I'm here live streaming with Jim McCormick. Hi, Jim.
Hello. There's no baseball games on. It's really enjoyable, and I'm here just to saunter back in to the Eagles season, which is currently still happening.
So we will confess that we tore Jim away from the Phillies game that's happening while we speak. So those of you watching it in the future, you know what will end up happening. As of right, I'm going to give Jim a couple updates as we go along. Jim's rooting for the Phillies. They're facing an elimination game against the Mets. And sorry, Jim, for taking you away. That's the dedication that you get out of this dude. He's sick, too. He's also sick. Many children have infected his lungs with terrible diseases, but he's here. And we're going to preview Week 6 in the NFL. We'll potentially make a couple picks against the spread. We'll tell you how we think we see these games going, how we're kind of setting them in our minds heading into the weekend, and then also take some of your questions as we go along. In fact, here I am checking the chat right now. Dry Erase Girl is here. Andrew, trying to be first, but here. Kevin, hello. Max, hello. Talk Birdie to me. Says no spread is safe. That is fair. So yeah, we're gonna get going here, and we're sponsored by DraftKings, by the way, and we'll tell you a little more about DraftKings as we get going. The first game of this Week 6 is the Thursday night game. It's San Francisco sub 500 team, Seattle over 500 team. Jim, exactly like they drew it up.
This is how this works. I mean, I knew this was going to happen. I don't have any Brock Purdy futures on DraftKings. I do. And he's going to turn it around. This is right around when the MVP race starts and the Bugle Boy commercials come back out, or like Stetson. That doesn't make sense. Those aren't the same brands. But here's what I think is happening in this matchup is one. The 49ers seem to constantly be overlooking things, or maybe this is just who they are now, that like they're not the elite anymore. They're back to the fray. But at the same time, isn't this the third game in 11 days for Seattle? That's my main concern when I talk about this matchup, is just how banged up Seattle is. So that's my main concern.
Yeah, they are. They are pretty injured. And I mean, San Francisco isn't probably as injured. They got a couple guys. Still missing one of the two middle linebackers. What the hell? All I can say about the Niners is like, what the hell? It feels like a team that finds a way to take its eye off the ball in the fourth quarter every other week. Congratulations, you pasted the Patriots. Should that count in the win column? Like, this doesn't feel like a talent problem. It doesn't feel like a scheme problem. I guess, the kicker got hurt, and that definitely influenced losing the game in the fourth quarter of the Cardinals. They are going on 4th and long where they would have kicked a field goal, but concentration problems scare me a little bit. When that becomes a team's problem, the opponent almost doesn't matter.
As an Eagles fan, I can relate to seriously though. I'd not to always mention that, but like the unraveling, I've seen a team just completely lose their identity. They felt more teetering last year than say this team does. This is a more talented team than that. But yeah, there is a sense of you've spoken about this before with the Chiefs. They have this like switch they can hit, and the Niners are just like, we don't even have to hit it. Like they pretend that there isn't a mode they have to get back into. It's almost like they're denying this languishing or whatever you want to call it. Either way, I think Seattle's just so beat up. Byron Murphy, Chesa Nwosu is out. It's just
Leonard Williams, maybe? I mean,
yeah. My whole point is Tyrone Tracy ran for like 4 million yards last week, so I'm a little concerned that Jordan Mason might run a marathon. So
yeah, I mean, they weren't stopping the run real great even before the defensive tackles got hurt. It's fair. This point spread is on the road. The Niners are coming off an embarrassing loss, and they're 2-3, and they're 3.5-point favorites. It sounds like you're going to give it.
Yeah, man, that's what a tricky line. Good job, guys. But yes,
tricky line. All right, I agree. I have the same pick. All right, we have another London game, governor. Cheerio, pip pip. Jaguars are in. Okay, I can't do it anymore. They are facing the Bears, who all it took was facing the Carolina Panthers for Caleb Williams to look chef's kiss. Excellent. I will admit it's as good as he's looked. And some of the stuff felt to me not Panther related, replicable, calmer in the pocket, scrambling to throw, throwing on the move much more accurately, things that we were pitched to him. That was how he was pitched to us. But it is in the end would be nice to see him do it against a real team. And maybe one of these weeks they'll play one, but this week it's the Jaguars.
Yeah, that's the problem, right? The one win these guys get is against Uncle Joe, and even then it wasn't some decisive win, right? It was down to the wire, the Jaguar.
Jaguar.
Yeah, that's the thing. The thing with Caleb Williams, I don't know how to say it, like, oi, Caleb Williams. Oi, he's a mistake maker. He really is, though. He's so wild. He's always turning over his shoulder. It's like he's a supermodel. I don't get it. He's always looking over. It's always turning back and forth. There's never just looking forward. Either way, this is the package. And the thing is it's all about the defense for me. Again, I always say this. It's reductive, but not that I'm predicting my pick so much, but I'm just saying that the Bears have the best unit on the field.
Meaning the defense.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get away from point spreads and just tell me what personnel on that defense. I'm with you. It's a good defense. What's your favorite personnel on that defense?
I would say Montez Sweat changed everything. He's just so big, the condor, just set the edge. He's got like a Max Crosby thing where he's very much the B- version, but he does have a GPA at the scale of a special player. And I just think he changed everything from last year. You look at the on-offs, you look at what he did, and their secondary is pretty good. So it's the one thing that's working. Eberflus can do one thing: have a cool haircut after a 3-year waiting period and coach defense.
It's just harsh. The line is Bears -2 neutral field. I mean, technically the Bears are the home team, but the Jags have more fans in London, I presume, because they play there 8 times a year. What do you think?
And teal and turquoise, huge colors in London. It's like that's half the city's color. I'm going to give the points just because I think this Jaguars team is bad, like actually bad.
I kind of do too. I'm also going to give them. So I'm going to get to the read in just a second and thank DraftKings. Let me catch up with the chat here a little bit. Vidor says +1 point Jim, which I think we all kind of agree in life generally. Luis says don't look at the Phillies score. It's still 4-1 bottom, headed to the top 9. So yeah, not great. Kevin says, and I would like your opinion on this. Tremaine Edmonds also makes the Bears defense run. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. So like his whole thing was, can he stay in the field? That's like he's a classic Bills player where he's like, I can't stay healthy. But then he has. So this big payday is paying off a year later.
Agreed. Evan says, I like Brisker, tough safety. Basically, there's a lot of love for the Bears.
They got dudes. They have some guys, and that's where they stockpiled. That's why they kind of have this, I don't know, momentum in theory.
Right. In theory. Well, I mean, they're 3-2. They probably should be.
Yeah.
Probably should be not 1-4, but whatever. They killed Carolina last week. That's all good. Let's get back to these games in just a second, but let's thank DraftKings for sponsoring us. If you want to say thanks to DraftKings for having this silliness go on each week, there's one way you can do it. Download the DraftKings app. You can make a wager on a couple of these games. We really, really urge you not to wager a lot. We really do this stuff for fun. I certainly do play the games, but I mean, we're talking $5 and $10 bets. We're not trying to make tons of money here. So please stay controlled. But if you do download that DraftKings app and you've never done it before, it helps the show if you use the code HarrisTube, all one word. And if you do that, you get a little promo, which is make one $5 bet. They're going to give you $200 in bonus bets into your account instantly to use within a few days of you getting that bonus, which is really cool. So download the DraftKings app, sign up using the code HarrisTube, all one word, and one $5 bet will get you $200 in bonus bets. We do thank DraftKings so much for sponsoring. Jim, I'm going to do a quick check. It's bottom 8. You got a chance still. I thought it was top 9 already. So, just, the Mets still might score more runs, actually.
Yeah, exactly. That's a chance. It's always possible.
Yeah. All right, let's let's move on, and we're going to skip some of these games because they're disgusting. One of them being Texans at Patriots. Just give me a pick. It's Houston on the road, 7-point favorite.
Yeah, sure. I've been on this Houston thing all year. I'm not going to get off it now. If there's ever a blowout, it's going to be against this rookie guy. Maybe he makes it fun, but he could be fun the other way, which is like for people who bet Houston.
All right, so you're going to say Houston minus
Yes.
7. I'm going to tell you why I'm going to take the Patriots. I was wrong on the Patriots last week. I'll probably be wrong again. But you've had a sense of this all year. NFL dogs of 6 or more points this year, 16-2-1 against the spread.
And like the outright is also still remains crazy. They did it again last week with the Giants and things like that. Like, yeah.
The outright's like 500-ish. I think around 500.
So that money line is crazy.
So you know what? We're going Patriots plus 7, and it's wrong, but I'm going to stick with it. By golly. Kevin says, Harris, I picked up the Houston defense. If Drake May goes crazy, I'm going to laugh out loud and shake my fist at Footy Pajama Harris. That is completely fair. You should do that. I agree.
A triple Lindy in the game. That's an old joke. Don't use that. Yeah.
Who would have known that Commanders Ravens, not only is it for the soul of the DMV, but also it's just kind of a good game, and maybe like the Spider-Man pointing meme when it comes to the two quarterbacks, because what can you say? Like I picked Cleveland to cover against Washington last week. The theory that I espoused, which was wrong, was that the Browns would present a challenge that Jaden Daniels hadn't yet seen. I guess they did for a little while. He threw a stinky pick in the end zone. They didn't score their first few drives. They did get some pressure on him, but like, he's a problem solver and he figured it out. And they're actually blocking much better than anyone ever thought. And I just couldn't be more impressed. I know the Browns stink, but the defense doesn't stink. That's a really great effort last week.
It's absolutely true. I misread that as well, which kind of my thing this year. But it's true. There's a Spider-Man element to this in terms of just like these guys who can beat you when you have them beat, right? That's the kind of idea, like wiggle out of things, like the I can't believe he gets away with it again kind of thing. And that's the truth with Jaden Daniels. Again, maybe it's my hesitation. I just continue to wonder, is rent due? There's that speculation, like, when is it going to happen? When are they going to change? But we're going into week 6, and they're playing good football. And would you say the Raven defense has been done? I mean, it's easy to come out of a track meet against the Bengals and say, Ravens defense stinks. Like, Bengals are good, and sometimes that just happens. The Ravens have had a couple of good defensive games, but like the one against the Cowboys doesn't look as impressive now. It feels like when they've been pushed, the Ravens defense hasn't really been awesome. Yeah, I mean that could happen when you lose like your entire staff. I think there's an identity rebuild going on. They also they've done this with tackles, and they do it with defensive edges now. They kind of just like cycle it and see what happens, and it doesn't always work every year. This is one of those years. Particularly, they lost Patrick Queen and a defensive coordinator. I think there's a lot of loss there that we can account for. Igloo in the chat says, is this the game that's the true test for Jaden? Does he get the ultimate rubber seal of approval after this one? Thinking in terms of, well, it's only been 5 games. I think we would both say... we would be impressed, but the answer would probably still be no, because it's still a third of his rookie year. At some point, I'm kind of convinced about Jaden Daniels. Like, I am. He's doing things that are not elementary. Like, he's been really good, but so did RG3. He needs to stay healthy and keep doing it and put a lot of film on, into opposing defensive locker rooms and keep doing it. So the ultimate seal of approval, probably not, but it would go a long way. Oh, absolutely. It would validate it, because it would be a real opponent on his checklist. We can say they're not the old Ravens, but they're still. I mean, how many? It's a parity league. How many elite teams are we listing that are that scary? So yeah, 100%, and just even keeping up with the Ravens. Just I would be impressed if this goes down to a kick. That'd be impressive. All right. Well, so I'm on the Commanders plus 6.5. You know why? NFL dogs of 6+ are over 500 straight up, 16-2-1 against the spread. I'm taking the points as well. There's something Chiefsy also about they're just always they know too much about Justin Tucker. They just if Justin Tucker wasn't there, they might win by more. Like, honestly. Like,
in other words, the Ravens are Chiefsy in that they kind of play with their food.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. The Spencer Rattler show begins. I don't watch college football, man. The Saints are going to be starting Spencer Rattler. Derek Carr's out for multiple weeks with a injured oblique. Did you know anything about Spencer Rattler as a college? He was a big college recruit, right? He was.
Yeah. He was one of. There was this the show. I'll be really quick. There's a show on Netflix, QB1 or whatever it's called. Justin Fields was on it as a high schooler. What was either way, he was one of them. Rattler had one of the years. Pretty kind of divisive guy. Like would like scream at his teammates and stuff. Kind of like it's kind of a lot going on there. Like not go to his birthday party kind of team. But either way, he went to 3 colleges or 4 maybe. Like he's Oklahoma, Arizona State, and finished in South Carolina. The thing is, he's not Derek Carr. And that's still the truth. No, the thing is, he people love his arm talent. He's a little guy, but people have always loved his arm talent. There's a little bit of Baker to him in terms of just like, it's like, how do you do that kind of thing? Even though he's like 5'9", or he's bigger than that, but he looks like a child.
Dude, you've already he looks like a child. You've already told me more about Spencer Rattler than I ever knew, other than, he sort of is destined, that name, he should be in the USFL. Is there a USFL?
Yeah. There is. Saints fans put him with red eyes, and there's like a secret sect of Saints fans that loves. It's like the Saint Spencer crowd. They have laser eyes with him. It's just it's a part of the world. So.
It's a whole thing. So the Buccaneers come to New Orleans, and the Buccaneers, I feel like they are what they are. They're a good offense. It's like the 11th best offense and like the 21st best defense, and they're sort of truth in advertising, and the real litmus test of how you feel about this game will go is more like the complete wild card of this kid, which, let's face it, as much as we know that he looks like a toddler on the field, I guess, we don't probably know that much about him. What I'll tell to you, Jim, is do you know what the line on this game was Sunday, after Tampa had played, but before New Orleans had played?
No. Can I guess? I'm going to say -2 New Orleans.
It was -2.5.
Oh, okay.
And it's moved to Tampa -3.5. So Derek Carr is worth 6 points.
I mean, that's not what I say. I mean, Jesus agrees. He's a good guy.
It's it could be a disaster, but I'm gonna take the home dog. You?
Yeah, same. It's also, that's weird. That line's so weird to me that I'm almost like, okay, guys, okay.
It's very odd. I'll just take a pick. Colts Titans.
I am going to go Titans just because Anthony Richards is Will Levis and Will Levis is Anthony Richards. So like they're going to run into each other. Also,
go ahead.
Did we cover the Cardinals Packers game? I just want to make sure. Sorry.
Oh, I skipped. Sorry, I skipped the Cardinals Packers game. Good. But we'll just say that we both are on Tennessee +1.
Yes.
Going back to Cardinals Packers. What did I want to ask you about that? I don't think Jordan Love is playing very well. I watched these games, and I think obviously he suckled at the teat of Aaron Rodgers, one might say. And you can see it because he's off balance and he's off platform and he's a wild man and he really wants to throw it down the field. Young Rodgers. I mean, that's not really what Aaron Rodgers does anymore. But I think he just makes a lot of mistakes. And I get it. The Rams game, they outmanned him and like he got let down by receivers several times, or it probably could have been a blowout. But he just puts the ball in harm's way all the dang time.
Yeah, I think teams bait him a lot now. Like I've seen it. Like the Eagles have tried it before. That's the only way Reed Blankenship can ever touch a ball. But like, they do. I think teams create these gaps where they're constantly trying to bait him into those throws because I think they know that he has these huevos. He's got this incredible confidence in his arm, and it paid off last year. And now teams are like, he's going to throw that every time. Give it to him. I just think that's what's happening, and it's a wild man. It's the Favre, and it's like it goes back. It's in the whatever the Packers phylum.
Do you think it skipped a generation? Like it's a gene? I guess it didn't because Rodgers had it too. But like maybe it's a recessive gene that skips a generation. Yeah, like I definitely don't want to say he's a bad player, Jordan Love, but I think he was anointed. We got, as Bill Parcells would say, they got out the anointing oil a little early.
fantasy-wise, it affects things. He's doing well enough in fantasy that we're not crying about it. Like, meaning, I know but that seems like it's not a market crash yet. Like,
yeah, no, and like again, I don't think a crash is necessarily coming.
No, that's not the right word.
Yeah, until and if it's a playoff game and he hasn't tightened it up. Like the screws are just feel a little loose to me. I don't even know. They're playing the Cardinals. They're hosting the Cardinals. Like, I don't even think necessarily like Arizona's the defense to hold him to it or anything like that. Like, I'm going to pick the Packers here. So, but yeah, it just feels a little off to me.
It does feel off enough to me. I'm actually taking the points here. Do you know that teams from Arizona who are favorites of at least 5 points tend to cover in week 6?
So it's 5, and so here we go. It's I'm gonna be on the Green Bay side. You're gonna be on the Arizona side. I am gonna go back up ahead on my list. Actually, before we do that, let's do our first like spike. We're like 20 minutes in here. We got enough people in here. So we're gonna hopefully, if everybody hits like kind of within a few seconds of each other, then we'll attract. It'll send some sort of bat signal out to the rest of the live streaming world, and suddenly we'll be presented with thousands of users. Probably, I think that's the way YouTube works. So here we go with a like spike. Everybody, get to their like button. Don't hit it yet. I'm gonna count you down. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Like. I'm gonna do it. I can do it. I'm allowed. I just liked it. I liked my own video. I liked my own live stream. That felt like kind of self-pleasuring in a way.
It felt like a early 90s mall girl just saying like a lot. Like. Like.
Yeah, we are. I see, look at all these hundreds and likes, and you guys are the best. This is great. Andrew asks the question that I think only Jim McCormick is qualified to answer, which is, does Aaron Rodgers secrete ayahuasca?
Yeah, that and like like high octane aloe vera. It's like kerosene and aloe vera. I don't know why. It's from the early. It's from his. Yeah.
Wow.
That's toxic. He's toxic.
See, Anji says gooning on stream, which is not cool, man. I don't know.
I don't know what that means.
Max says, whoa, self-pleasuring. My kids are awake, man. I don't think your kids know gooning or self-pleasuring. So let's go ixnay on the
YouTube Kids. We're not on YouTube Kids. We should be on YouTube Kids, Dave. Put us on YouTube Kids.
Yeah, every time you start a live stream, it says, is this made for kids? And I fumble quickly to the no as fast as I possibly can. It is not made for kids. All right, your Eagles are back from their bye week, and I'm sure they've fixed everything. The only saving grace here is that they get to face one of the more dysfunctional teams in the NFL than they are, the Cleveland Browns. You're very close to the Eagles situation, and you snicker every week at the Browns situation. Which of these two teams, if you took away the quarterbacks, which roster would you rather have between the Cleveland Browns and the Philadelphia Eagles?
The Eagles. Yeah,
you would
still. Yeah, I mean, I know they both have issues. They don't have a player like Myles Garrett. I just think they have a greater diversity of talent, and higher floor.
I have to say, I probably go Eagles too, and you're probably the people watching us now are probably thinking like, because Jalen Hurts is probably part of the problem. So you're trying to remove Deshaun Watson from the problem that Cleveland has, but you're also removing the Jalen Hurts problem that Philly has. It's not as bad a problem, but so that's fair. I think it gets closer. When you remove the quarterbacks, I think I don't think the Browns are a bad team. The offensive line's been very beaten up, but they got the left tackle back this past week, and they hung in that Commanders game for a while. And I think Jaden Daniels is going to score points on good defenses. The problem is it just puts so much freaking pressure on the rest of the team when the quarterback is just completely lost. He's completely lost, man.
It's everything. Was it the shoulder? Was it this? Yes. Like there was I just said but there's somebody put it out on Twitter, this Twitter sphere or whatever, I still call it that, regarding are there 100 quarterbacks in the world better than Deshaun Watson right now for the Browns? And yes, there are. There are, they're over, there's over 99.5 quarterbacks. I'm betting the over. Who would be a better situation to help them? And obviously one of them is on their team. It's just such a dysfunction. Yes, of the two situations, the Eagles, but I would say this, I think Stefanski is a much better coach. I'll say that.
Oh,
They have an advantage. I think the guy making decisions is in such a better place. Yeah. And I would even say in regards to his staff, even if Schwartz is outdated, Fangio is like a pile of old Capicola. It's just gabagool. Yeah. I don't know that's what Gabagool was till many years later. So
I got to go to the chat, although I assume in a second the chat is going to react to that because that was very funny. Fabio says that I initially thought Chris was talking with Andrew Whitworth. Which is
good. He lost
funny.
weight. That's good. Thank you. Thank you. I'm now an offensive lineman. It's good.
And Kevin says that Jim misses Schwartz, which probably is true.
I do. Yeah.
Jim Schwartz.
I thought he said shorts, and I was like, I do miss shorts. So yeah.
Shorts too. Well, see, I'm in LA, so I'm still wearing them. The Eagles are favored by 8.5 at home. What do you got?
I'm taking the points just because this, I'm just basing. I had this at 7. I thought it was good. I actually thought it would be 6.5. This threw me off. This is just obviously it's a Deshaun Watson line, but what about Jameis? What about somebody who talks like Jameis Winston? He covers.
What's the Jameis line here? I'm going to take Cleveland here because you know why? NFL dogs of 6+ are over 500 straight up and 16-2-1 against the spread. We're not going to bet into that losing streak, winning streak, whatever. We've got one more. It's the next game. It's Falcons Panthers, and you're going to be shocked. Everybody watching is going to be shocked to hear this, but Andy Dalton might not be the answer.
I mean, listen, give him some time.
We're kicking him out of the Redheads Union. He's out.
I don't know. He's got some pretty cool hair. That's really all he's got going for him. That would be like,
I'm older.
First of all, his LinkedIn would be wild if he took his red hair away. It would just be a bunch of interceptions. So look, the thing with this is, it came home, and maybe the Jonathan Brooks party is not going to happen. And meaning maybe this idea of 1 week that the whole system changed and Deontay Johnson still hates touchdowns. All these things are true, but the number one thing is that the NFC South is actually kind of the new AFC South and how it used to be. Meaning it's just this like sloppy ward of who can get to 8, and it continues to feel like that. And it's Groundhog Day.
Yeah, I mean, we've had Atlanta play. This is third straight, right? You got Tampa, you got New Orleans, got Carolina, and it's like, I don't know what's going to happen. I assume it's a field goal at some point, and that field goal might give me the shaft, or it might make me win. But like, it's despite all appearances, it's I don't know how I don't know. I'm on the Panthers here. You know why? NFL dogs of 6+ are over 500 straight up and 16-2-1 against the spread, and we're not going to bet into that. And I just assume I don't know how the Falcons are, a 7 or 8, like 8.5, 8, 7, 7.5 to 8 point better than anybody on neutral field. Like, are they?
I just can't get like you said, there's like the NFC North is amorphous. It's I don't know. It's like a really confusing TED talk that no one wants to watch. I don't get it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't understand what actually I just watched. Meaning afterwards, I don't know what to tell you about the Falcons. I can't tell you other than that they have people who disappoint fantasy teams. So I'm taking the points.
I am taking the points as well. We are. Okay, I'll do that one as well. But I wanted to do one more like spike because we have a few more people in here right now. So unless you don't know what a like spike is, we're gonna all hit like at the same moment. It's gonna incredibly publicize the darn show, and we'll get so many more people knowing about our channel. So we're gonna do one more like spike. If you haven't liked yet, even if you had, what the heck? I'm gonna try to like again. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Wow! I can take my finger on it. Like quickly. Like. I'm liking. Oh, I took my like away, but I put it back again. I'm sure that helps. Oh, look at all those hearts and hundreds and you're just all the best. Thank you. And everybody who's watching this after the fact, and let's face it, thousands of people are going to be watching this after the fact. We love you. You can like it too. I think that helps us. If you say like, if you like the video, boy, that just hit like. All right. Dave reminds me that I skipped over the Chargers Broncos game, and I have strong feelings about the Chargers Broncos game. So I'm glad that Dave reminded me. My strong feeling is I believe very much in these two defenses, and Jim, don't necessarily believe in the Charger offense any more than I believe in Denver's offense.
Yeah, I mean, and man, Bo Nix, he really took advantage of that Ferris Bueller thing. I don't know if he's really running with this thing, this whole, I don't know. He's pretty good at social media, but it is, I would never find myself thinking that I would agree with that, no matter what.
I know.
that I think that these are even in the same caliber, even with the idea that like they had this stripped down, this not almost intentionally, knowingly lack of incumbent talent coming in, and it's even worse than I thought it was going to be. Like, meaning it's really is J.K. Dobbins and a cloud of, I don't know, like TJ Maxx receipts. I don't know what do the Chargers have? Dust? I don't.
Is that a commentary on Jim Harbaugh's wardrobe? Like
khakis, and also they're kind of like the TJ Maxx team, and of what I mean, like whereas like what are the Rams? I don't know. I don't know.
I have bad news to deliver. The Phillies have been eliminated from the playoffs.
Yeah.
I'm very sorry about that. It happened live here on the show.
At one point, like in May, they were really good at baseball.
I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I mean, if you told me we get to after this Charger Bronco game and you told me that the passing game perked up and that Justin Herbert just was healthy, because it's obvious his dude hasn't been healthy in 2 months more. And like, if you told me this break like somehow got him right, I guess I would go, okay, you know what? I'm willing to reconsider again, because I think everybody watching knows that I was really high on Herbert relative to how he was being valued, because an offense was like too run heavy. And I think the reason it's been as run heavy as it is because he can't walk and he's too good a player, like if he were right. And so if you told me that happens, I mean, I see Charger fans, Kevin's a Charger fan in the chat. Like, I'm not ruling out that possibility as soon as this week, but I'm also not ruling out the possibility that a suddenly really good Denver defense gets to him and hurts him again.
Right, and we haven't seen it. Right, and they made some great moves. Denver getting Jonathan Franklin from the guy Franklin Myers, whatever his name is, the guy from the Jets. The Jets really kind of messed up the whole edge thing, didn't they? But the main point being, I'm surprised by both factors. Denver's much better than I thought. Like, it's just defense, and Sean Payton, who knew? He doesn't play defense.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. I mean, the offense is a disaster, and you got some Sean Payton screaming at Bo Nix the way he screamed at Russell Wilson last year. So the offense isn't where he wants it to be, but the defense is, and the Chargers shouldn't be a 3-point road favorite over anybody, and I'm on Denver.
I'm also taking the home points here just because this is Spider-Man-y. This is NFC Southie.
There's a lot of that going around. You know what? I don't even need an explanation. Just give me a pick between Steelers, a 3-point road favorite at Vegas.
Wow, that's crazy because you think it'd be more. Aiden, the Steelers, T.J. Watt, and a guy who plays quarterback.
I literally can't get you to just say the pick. You got to say like random words. You got to be like, Kent Colby, Dave Parker.
Dianetics.
I'm going to take the Steelers. Dianetics. All right. I'll be on the Steelers too. I don't think I'm going to play that with anybody's money. Certainly not my own. Let's do Lions Cowboys, which is a rematch of that famous game where the city of Detroit unified behind how an offensive lineman should have been allowed to catch a ball, and that was a whole mess. Those franchises, and that was a late season game last year that the Cowboys won, and it propelled them to the division title and yada, yada, yada. But like, those franchises have really gone opposite directions since.
Yeah, it's the team that re-signed everybody early, and then the team who they both just re-signed everybody, but Detroit's players are better and also healthy, mostly, right? Again, we talked about what's going on with Seattle. This is like a whole different version in terms of defensive erosion. Dallas is so beat up that it's hard to price them for me. But yeah, Detroit, they're like good in spite of Jared Goff. It's kind of impressive. Like, it's
except for he played very well. I mean,
that's true.
Have any incompletions in week 4. He didn't really fire it down the field much, but like still, no incompletions in an NFL game is
true.
Yeah,
true.
Pretty good.
Yeah. I never did.
Yeah, I mean,
you had two incompletions.
Yeah, I had a couple, but I don't want to talk about that. Yeah, I think of the Lions as like the current NFL's version of royalty at this point, and yet that's so messed up.
Yeah.
Well, it's not only just messed up because it's the Lions and you don't think of them that way, but also our brains in the NFL get so screwy with how few games there are in such a long period of time that we forget that 2 years ago they stunk.
Yeah.
Like 2 years ago they got better at the second half of the year, but like they weren't good. And then last year they we could draw the straight line and say, wow, the improvement in the second half of 2 years ago really bled into this year, as of last year, and they were good, and they made the NFC Championship game. And so now it seems like they're just one of the made teams when this is still kind of all new to them. But in this, like you said, the parity version of the NFL, like that's what signifies a top 5 NFL team now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's almost strange. Like that season where 2 years ago, where they didn't make the playoffs, they almost like are getting an asterisk like credit for it because they beat Seattle that night, and it was like, but they could have if 4 other teams lost, and it's just like, yeah, but they didn't. But the Packers felt the same way that year, and then we made, in terms of they actually made it. But my point being, it's hard to yeah, the NFL brain is strange. Like that feels like a very long time ago in terms of the episodic kind of way that they've become better.
100%. 2 years ago, Mac Jones crushed the Lions.
Ooh. I don't remember that. Yeah.
Well, I got to hang my hat on something. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird. And it's funny because like Max says, LOL, I'm from Michigan. The Lions are not NFL royalty. Trust me. I'm not saying they really like should be, but it's just sort of the way it works. It's like these teams feel like made in like the mafia way that made like way before, like they've been that way longer than they actually have, which is weird. All right. But we didn't talk about a point spread here.
Right.
This is my one push. This is the only line this week that I completely nailed. It's Lions on the road giving 3 to the Cowboys. So I don't have a pick. Do you?
Yeah, I actually had this at 3.5, which is just so close. I think it's a better team. Go Lions.
Detroit.
Yes.
You got it. All right. Sunday night, the 1-4 Bengals. Wow. They're not a 1-4 team. They're not this bad.
No. They're the slow starters, and they always pay a tax for it. And this is like an extreme version of it.
Defenses. Billy, by the way, in the chat says Jim needs a background of an underscore ASAP. I could not agree more.
It's trademarks and stuff. We'll talk about that.
The family won't allow it, but I could not agree more.
I should save my beard into an underscore. That'd be really bad.
An underscore.
Yeah.
Maybe I get fantasy brain. Obviously, we do a lot of fantasy football talk. Maybe the Bengals are this bad, but it's just that the offense is so good that I can't somehow bring myself to admit it. But the defense is so bad that they deserve to be 1-4. I don't know. I do know that with no Malik Neighbors, no Devin Singletary, the Giants kind of punched the Seahawks a little bit in the mouth, and Daniel Jones played like legitimately well, and suddenly I'm reconsidering and I'm going, oh my God, maybe Daniel Jones is actually a fantasy start against a rancid Bengals defense, which, Jim, that's never a headspace that I want to be in.
He's the top pickup among quarterbacks in Yahoo League, so good luck with that. And he's among the leaders in ESPN leagues as well. So just everybody's chasing that Danny. But it feels like a couple years ago. To talk about how long ago it was, do you remember when they made the playoffs? That was 2 years ago. Yeah. And they made the second round. They beat a Kirk Cousins team, meaning my point is it's just like it feels like that team, that was their goal then, was to punch you in the mouth and survive. And he got us, but they have that mentality back, it feels like. And I suppose it's also because their offensive line isn't absolutely decimated like it was last year. And this piecemeal thing worked to an extent. I give some credit. Overpaying everybody on HBO worked. So.
All right. Well, the home dog, the powerhouse home dog Giants are getting 3.5 points at home.
Yeah, I'm going to give these points still, even with all that said. This is the old reversal. This is the old trickaroo. The Bengals just deserve one, almost. I know that's not even just doesn't work in the NFL, but they do. Yeah,
I'm on the side. I said it was 4. I said they were going to be favored by 4, and it's 3.5. So I'm on the Bengals side, but I don't feel strongly about it. And then, for it's what would it be if you're a modest? What is it? Is it Modest Mounts? Good news for people who love bad news. Aaron Rodgers wise on Monday night. If you're an Aaron Rodgers hater, this is the week for you because, as I said on the podcast today, it sure feels like he got the head coach fired so that he could keep the offensive coordinator, and that is a bad look. In a season filled with bad looks, in a Jets career filled with bad looks, in probably the last 3 years of his life filled with bad looks. If you're a Rodgers hater, this is the moment for you.
This is a shot before the Super Bowl. It's great because it's just him and Hackett now in a room full of like Gatorade Zeros. You know what I mean? Just like screaming about Z's wiggle, throw it to Lazard twice.
I mean, Kevin says, imagine wanting to keep a bad offensive coordinator who runs a static offense that isn't modern in the year 2024, which is, I completely agree with that. This is a bad moment for like the old Bill Walshy kind of Mike McCarthy offense. Like it feels like it's not really with it anymore. It feels like defenses know what to do against it. Yeah.
No, it's the Fangio. Like that again. It's like that's how the lens I'm looking through. It's just like when it's over, it's over.
Yeah. It's over. Invader Coda says, "Are the Bills this year's version of last year's Miami Dolphins?"
Oh, that's great. That's exactly how they feel. Like just at times you're like unbeatable. It looks amazing how they're doing it. Now that they had a different, but there's a mystique that they almost didn't earn, or that doesn't feel earned. It always feels a little dubious, even when they beat somebody. And then, of course, they also have big losses on their record. So that's who they are. Like Miami was last year.
Yeah, at 3-0, Josh Allen was the MVP, and like they. So what that they're not getting production out of the receivers? Mm-hmm. We don't even care. They're just ahead by so much that they're just going to walk over everybody.
And Miami was coming off a 70-point game the year before, right?
Right. Yeah. No, fair. So the Bills, I mean, it is a little bit of a house of horrors for them to go to the Jets. They lost this game in week 1 after Rodgers tore his Achilles last year. They're a 2-point favorite in the Meadowlands against the Jets.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about some good defenses. That seems like a vibe around the league these days, or whatever. The margins seem closer now between the two groups, and I really do respect the Jets defense. At the same time, I don't see how they're going to put the points up against this. The Bills are wily. They don't have the talent that the Jets have, but I don't know if they need to on defense, because there's this guy Josh Allen who just runs around and does big wild moose stuff, and he's going to just moose his way to 3 touchdowns.
I guess unless, like it sure looked like he was concussed. I think they fudged it last week. So let's see how this goes throughout the year.
The smelling salts is a great look. Yeah.
Yeah, the smelling salts. Good job, Dave. If you haven't watched Silliest Thing, it's very funny. So I'm going to be also on Buffalo -2 in this game. We're going to do our best bets of the week here. But before we do, I want to congratulate Aaron Flynn from last week, from week 5, who correctly picked, in a way that I absolutely did not, the Commanders to absolutely shellac the Browns, which, Aaron, you were correct. Well done. I hope you're here. And if you're not here live, then I hope you're seeing this in arrears. People in the chat can let us know what your best wager is against the spread, and people in the comments. We got more comments last week, but didn't get enough. So if you're watching the video, just quickly throw it down there. We'll give you a shout out next week. Someone who gets one correct. Jim, did you ever compute what your best bet point spread record is at this point?
It's pretty perfect. I haven't checked it yet, but it feels good. Spiritually, I'm sound. So
I thought you said 6-4. I thought you said
something like that. Probably not. That's probably not accurate. I'll check it out.
Mine are 6-4. You know what? We both went 2-0 on our best bets last week. What are your 2?
All right. So one of them is one that you didn't feel so strong about, but it's okay. I don't need you to feel strong about what I feel strong about. The Bengals. I think they're going to roll. I do. I just think it's time to roll. Okay. And the other one, and I really do believe this one, this is a good one, is Cleveland getting those points. It's just like there's so many Jameis Winston paths. This is the week. This is Jameis week. He's coming.
Is this self-protection with the Browns against the Eagles? A little bit.
It is.
A little Philly pain.
A vocab word in my 4th grade class this week is a light. It is to descend and land, and that's what Jameis Winston is going to land on the field and just throw 3 interceptions but 4 touchdowns.
My 2 are. I just can't get over the point spread for the Saints moving as far as it went, just because Derek Carr's not in there. So Saints +3.5, and also Denver +3. I don't know. On a neutral field, I don't think the Chargers are 5 points better than them, so I'll take those points too. So 2 home dogs, but not 2 of the ones who are 6+. And I've said it enough times. You got it. Thanks, DraftKings, for sponsoring. We thank them very much. If you'd like to download that app and maybe play a couple of these games, if you've never done it before, please do sign up using the code HarrisTube. You'll just make one $5 bet, and then you can be done. You don't have to put any more money into DraftKings. You'll get $200 in bonus bets. You gotta use the bonus bets kind of within the 3 days or so, but then you can have fun and build up your stack a little bit. Don't bet a lot, please. Would be our advice, but it is fun. I want to thank everybody in the chat And I want one more like spike. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Give me a like spike. You guys are hilarious. You're making us crack up. Like, I can hear Dave laughing in my ear at some of your comments. You're hilarious. And so we really appreciate you being here. And of course, everybody watching, awesome to have you here. Thank you so much for being here. And we're going to be back next week. Thank you very much. We'll see you.